Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. We are discussing the food science and technology, in which we are discussing the food constituents. And in food constituents, we are discussing the carbohydrates. And in carbohydrates, we are discussing the important carbohydrates. We have discussed the properties of the starch, the properties of the sugars, and now we are discussing the properties of the hemicellulose and cellulose. And the last lecture, we about the pectins and gums. In this lecture, we are discussing the properties of the hemicellulose and cellulose. They are longer in chain length than the starch. As we have discussed that the sugars are soluble in water, while the starch are insoluble in cold but soluble in hot water. The hemicellulose and cellulose are not soluble either in hot or in cold water. They are present in the plant kingdom, in the plant cells, and in the plant cells they are present in the cell walls. They are present in the cell wall to give structural support to the cells, to the plants, and to keep them erect and tight. They are indigestible and can't be digested by the human beings. They are only digestible by the ruminants, by those animals who have several chambers of their digestive tract. While the human beings can digest it in the way that the microorganism, that the microflora of the intestinal tract can digest and convert the cellulose into glucose and some important vitamins of the B complex, which are required for the growth, etc. Remember that by the enzymatic activities of the yeast, by some of the yeast, the cellulose, the waste paper, and the nitrogen supplements are converted by the yeast into protein, which is a rich source of energy and is required for the growth of the human beings and is a food supplement. Remember that we discussed in this lecture that the hemicellulose and cellulose are not soluble in the cold and hot water. They are present only in the plant kingdom. They are present in the cell wall. They give structural support to the plants, and they are not digestible by the human beings but are digested by the microflora of the intestinal tract, and some important vitamins of the B complex and glucose are formed or prepared from it, synthesized from it, and on the enzymatic activities and reactions of the yeast, the nitrogen supplements and the waste papers and cellulose are converted into proteins, which is a rich source and required source of energy for the human beings and for the food supplements. If you have any question about it, you may ask. I will appreciate your questions. Thank you.